What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ Bucky back with you. I'm out in Kansas City. Buck, I think you're still home. You haven't taken off yet, right?
No, I won't leave until Saturday to make my way out to Jacksonville.
Head out to Duval. Big one there for the Jags. Big one here on Thursday night. Chargers and Chiefs. We got some fun topics today, though. We're going to talk about some teams under a ton of pressure heading into week 2. It sounds kind of crazy. It's early in the season, but there are some teams that are feeling it a little bit. Maybe a breakout candidate, guy that we are high on, we think is getting ready to explode. We'll give you one of those names. And also going to preview a college game you might not be expecting because it's going to be on our air. It's going to be on NFL Network, and that is a Bowling Green Marshall tilt. So I'll give you a name or two to keep an eye on for that one if you have a chance to tune in and watch it. So, Buck, let's start off, though, here at the top. You're looking at some teams under some pressure after disappointments in week 1. Who would you identify as a team? Maybe I won't say it's a must-win game, obviously, week 2 in the 17-game season, but you want to see something better than what we saw last week.
The team you saw last week, the Las Vegas Raiders. Since 2016, DJ, only 7 teams have started 0-2 and made the playoffs. And so that teams that made the playoffs the previous season. So the Raiders are kind of in a loser-leave town match against the Arizona Cardinals. This is a team that has to get it going. They can't fall behind too far in the AFC West. And so this is a must-win game for them. They're playing at home. This should be a very favorable matchup for them because the Cardinals couldn't stop the Chiefs at all. Their defense dealing with Chiefs offense. And then offensively, they're still kind of finding themselves. And you got Cliff Kingsbury asking and begging his team to practice better. So to me, all those things suggest that the Cardinals are ready to pack up and go home already in week 2. So the Raiders need to give them a reason to pack it up. And so this is a game for Derek Carr, huge game for the Raiders. They got to get a win this week.
Yeah, I think the obvious one would be the Packers, just because of the ineptitude on offense and no Devontae Adams. Aaron on the field afterwards, I know he saw that clip of him going up to Justin Jefferson and saying, you're the best player on the field. I don't know if it was jealousy almost was in his voice when he was out there visiting with him. But I'm not gonna go with them. I think that's an obvious one. I think the Packers will bounce back. You'll see better from them against the Bears. That's the team you want to play if you're Green Bay trying to find yourself. They've had such success against the Bears. But I'm actually going to go with the Tennessee Titans. We talked about them before the season started. They got after everybody in the AFC last year. Were the number 1 seed in the postseason. We felt like they were kind of the forgotten team. They go out and lose to the Giants week 1. So, man, that's a disappointing loss. And now you got to turn around and you got to go play the Buffalo Bills and that juggernaut on rest, right? They opened up on Thursday night. So you're going to see what we would say is arguably the best team in the conference, and they're rested and ready to go. Look, I want to be positive about Tennessee. They might get their doors blown off in this one.
Whatever you think about the revenge tour for the Buffalo Bills, this is one of the stops. Last year, I want to see Tennessee put their hands on them, knocked them around pretty well. So now the Buffalo Bills want to show the football world how they made progress. Ken Dorsey did a great job calling the game, his first game out with the Buffalo Bills. It was balanced. It was diverse. You saw a mix of formations and personnel groupings. You saw the quarterback run, but really kind of play the position the way that we want to continue to see him play. This offense is a problem. And so you have a Tennessee team who is a little more methodical in how they have to do it. I got to see if they can kind of keep the score down to give themselves a chance to win in the second half. The first half is everything, but you're right. Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans, they are under a tremendous amount of pressure to see if they can get one this week.
Are you confident, like I am, that the Packers you see a better version of them this week?
I mean, I think you'll see a better version, but I think the Packers have to come to the reality that they're going to have to play the game differently. Maybe not so much pass-centric. Maybe they lean on Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, run the football a little more, use the running game to kind of set the table for the passing game and vice versa. But they have to maybe play a different style than we're used to seeing them play. They have been able to play for so long, just going up and down the field, not worrying about time, score, situation. Our quarterback's better than your quarterback, so it doesn't matter. But now when you're dealing with all these young pass catchers that are trying to figure it out, the game has to be a little more scripted, a little more under control to set up the opportunities down the field in the passing game. We'll see. I think Matt LaFleur is a smart guy. I think he'll make the adjustment, but yeah, I'm still a little worried about the Packers.
I want to get to one other team here because the Cincinnati Bengals, this is a team in the Super Bowl last year, offensive line, they made all these moves, and quarterback got the stuffing kicked out of him last week. They play the Cowboys, and you talk about the right time to catch the Dallas Cowboys. This is it. If Cincinnati, for some reason, if they can't beat the Cowboys this week, I think you can definitely hit the panic button. But I think they'll handle this one pretty easily.
Well, they're a more talented team. On paper, they're a more talented team. They can give you problems. They can throw some blitz stuff at Cooper Rush to get him off his spot, make him uncomfortable in the pocket, and I would expect them to do so. And then offensively, man, they have so much firepower that they're going to make it very, very tough for Dan Quinn to figure out where the matchups are. It'll ultimately be won in the trenches, and I just feel like Cincinnati is better on both sides of the ball in the trenches. That gives them the edge in the game. But if they somehow falter, DJ, you talk about the pressure being on Zach Taylor. Ton of pressure for the Bengals to be able to get this dub.
All right, I mentioned we were just going to mention one or two of these teams, but I do think it's not time to panic now, week one. I think you hit the numbers, man. You started 0-2. That is no bueno. And I look at the Patriots, and I look at them going on the road to play a prideful bunch there with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They don't come out of there with a win, Buck. I think you're going to see in a town where they are used to winning and used to winning at a high clip, you're going to see the panic button get pressed, and it's going to be pressed with velocity.
Yeah, they're already pressed in. Mac Jones has missed a day or so of practice with an illness. They couldn't score points. Matt Patricia, the offensive coordinator, people trying to figure out how you go from a defensive coordinator, head coach, to now being an offensive coordinator. Is Bill Belichick calling it all? They're not as talented as the teams within the division when you look at the other teams within the division. So how are they going to do this with a little smoke and mirrors action against a team that is better than them? Belichick's going to have to be at his best to be able to get this done. And he's not only going to have to be at his best this week, he's going to have to be at his best every week because the margin for error is so small with this team.
Yeah, and, Pittsburgh offensively, I don't know that they scare a lot of people at this point in time, but they're kind of built to play a grimy, tough game. And that might be enough against a Patriots team that does not look like they're in any kind of sync, any kind of rhythm right now. So anyways, I think that's a big game. If Patriots go 0-2, especially Buffalo keeps rolling. We'll see what happens to the rest of that division. That'll be an interesting one to follow. All right, we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to come back with a breakout candidate, somebody we think is on the verge of just kind of taking off. Mine is not going to be, first, second-year player. I think a lot of people think breakout candidates, that has to happen early in the career. Sometimes it just means the right opportunity. I'll fill you in on that one right after this. All right, Buck, breakout candidate, somebody we think could take off. Sometimes you just need the opportunity. This is a guy who's been in the league for a few years now. I think he's 26 years old. But I go back to things when we were scouting, things that you would notice in a preseason game. You're like, man, I kind of like this dude. If he kind of really gets his opportunity and his shot, I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson with the Niners. He's got juice. He's got burst. You don't want to see the injury they had in the backfield, but now he's got an opportunity to get some carries on a better footing situation than what they had in Chicago in that monsoon last week. An offense that needs to get right. I know Seattle has played really well against them. I'm not so sure Seattle didn't win this ball game because they match up well with San Francisco, but I think Jeff Wilson, he's going to make a name for himself here.
Yeah, so it's funny you talk about Jeff Wilson being a guy that's kind of found the right situation. I'm going to go to Cincinnati. I'm going to talk about Hayden Hurst, finding a great situation for him. Sometimes, DJ, when you're a first-round pick, you can get lost in the sauce because the expectations are maybe too big for you than your performance or your talent can kind of produce. In this situation, now he plays alongside Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. All those guys command all the attention in the passing game. The running game is led by Joe Mixon. So the one guy who is always going to be open as a safety valve is Hayden Hurst. And I expect Joe Burrow, after that turnover fest that he had a week ago, he is going to find the tight end. I expect Hayden Hurst to be a big part of this offense, not only this week, but going forward.
That's a good one. I liked him coming in out of the draft, too. Goes to the Ravens, then to the Falcons. Now he is with the Cincinnati Bengals. After they lost C.J. Uzomah, it was kind of like, oh, man, how do you let C.J. Uzomah go? Well, if they said the same thing about them previously when they let Carl Lawson go, right? And you saw Trey Hendrickson step in and do a nice job. So hat tip to their personnel department for what they've done there. I'm going to give you one more bonus. And by the time you're listening to this game might have already happened. So I'm either going to look really smart or really dumb. But Josh Palmer with the Chargers, no Keenan Allen. He's going to get an opportunity. Young receiver out of Tennessee, second year. He knew he could go up and get the ball, 50-50 balls down the field at Tennessee. I remember He did it against Patrick Surtain against Alabama. That was kind of his big highlight there. I've been impressed watching this guy practice a lot, Buck. You've been out there as well. Just he's a really pristine route runner. He's really clean. He's just been on a team where they got a lot of mouths to feed. But with no Keenan Allen, even Donald Parham being down, their second tight end, I think there's going to be opportunities here for Josh Palmer. It starts against Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday night. But this could be a little bit of a coming out party for him.
Yeah, it could be a coming out party, particularly if he does his work over the middle of the field. We've seen these zones vacate in the middle of the field. And so if he can get over the middle, find a way to sit down, find a way to become very, very friendly, target friendly is what we'll say. So Justin Herbert is able to find him, get the ball to him. Yeah, he can make a ton of plays. This game Thursday night is fascinating to me because I believe it's kind of the battle of division supremacy, not per team, but as the quarterback. Justin Herbert's been knocking on that door for a while in terms of, hey, am I the new QB1 in the league? Well, a spectacular performance against Pat Mahomes where he outduels him and we really can appreciate his game in a win. Yeah, Justin Herbert will then begin to have that conversation because we're seeing a changing of the guard when it comes to the old school quarterbacks that we're celebrating. The new school has come. Justin Herbert's at the forefront of it. I can't wait to see if he's able to kind of seize the mantle.
So I was having a conversation with somebody this morning, and I want to get your take on it. It's kind of take us off on a little tangent here. But you played with a lot of these great quarterbacks, historically great quarterbacks. The question was, could those 90s quarterbacks, could they play and excel in the league that it is right now? I mean, I watched the Jets tape the other day, and Joe Flacco even, he's kind of a 90s quarterback, a pure statuesque pocket passer, and you just don't ever get a chance to get right if you have something slip up front. It's a passing league. You're not running it as much. It's hard to have a quarterback where he's going to be on every single down, and if you get a win up front, he can't get away from you, man. That's just tough to play in this league right now like this.
It's very tough. Ideally, going all the way back to when I was in Green Bay with Coach Holmgren. Coach Holmgren said, I don't want an athlete playing quarterback. I want a quarterback who is athletic. The difference is I want someone who has the polish and the skills of a true quarterback, but he's athletic enough to get outside the pocket and do some things. I want someone who can make my play calls right when I'm wrong. And so when you're looking at the young quarterbacks, talk about Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, those guys can erase the mistakes because they can extend plays and they can hit big plays on these second reaction throws and the things that we talk about. I don't know, like in looking at Joe Flacco, because I found it funny that Robert Saleh, like leading up to it, was like, hey, this guy can be a star in the league. It's just so hard because he's a sitting duck. Everyone knows when we rush him, he's going to be 7.5 yards behind the center, right in the middle of the pocket, and we're going to knock him off. The guys who can move around and escape, it just changes the way that you have to prepare. I just think it's so hard. And it's one of the reasons why, DJ, it was hard to warm up to Mac Jones, because Mac Jones is more of a 90s quarterback than some of these new school quarterbacks that we're seeing come into the league.
Let me give you a theory on this. With a guy like Joe Flacco, you go into training camp, you're in the offseason, OTAs, you're in 7-on-7, you're in controlled environment, team settings, right? Quarterback's not live. Would it make sense to you that you could shine and Joe Flacco could look like, one of the top 10 to 12 starting quarterbacks in the NFL in a 7-on-7 environment? Then all of a sudden the game starts and you're like, he can't move.
Yeah, game changes. Game gets quick. It becomes a little more chaotic in the pocket. You have to find those windows where you're slipping and dodging defenders while keeping your eyes down the field. Completely different game. The other part of it that is different is just the speed of the people up front.
Yeah.
DJ, every week I'm seeing Trayvon Walker, and Trayvon Walker is a rookie, and he doesn't even know what he's really doing. But I'm looking at just how physically he is able to play the game. He can leap tall buildings in a single bound. He's super powerful. He come off the edge. And then I think about the quarterback and what the quarterback has to be able to do to get away from not only one of those, but four of those guys at the line of scrimmage. And so it's just so hard to play with someone who doesn't have the mobility. We can talk about how they can enhance the running game and all that. I'm just talking about basic, generic agility, movement, quickness, slide shuffle within the pocket. If you don't have that at a base level, it's hard to play quarterback in this league.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting conversation because these guys are Hall of Famers that we're talking about. It's just, I don't know that it's a different game, man. It's just a totally different game right now. And when you look around, especially in the AFC, and you see Josh Allen and Mahomes and Herbert and Burrow.
All athletes. They're all athletes.
Lamar Jackson.
They're all athletes. It's just hard to have a statue back there. And DJ, to be interesting because the 4-time MVP, Aaron Rodgers, is no longer the athletic playmaker. We're beginning to see his athleticism wane. So he's having to stay in the pocket all the time. And how is he going to be able to flourish without the mobility and those things? Russell Wilson is a guy that's beginning to come back to the pack from an athletic standpoint. It is just so hard to play when you have to play old school football, drop to the depth of the pocket, within the pocket, and play. It just makes it a very, very tough task against some of these good defenses.
No doubt. All right, we have a college football game coming up on NFL Network. I know people think, what? No, we're going to have some college football this year. We've got Marshall. What a time to get Marshall coming off of their win over Notre Dame. They are going to be playing Bowling Green. That game is Saturday, 5 Eastern, only on NFL Network. So you can follow the game there. And if you're watching the game, let me just give you one name to keep an eye on here. Marshall had a running back, if he was healthy, and Ali, who was kind of their top player. He's hurt. So now they've got a transfer in there, and Kalen LeBourne, who transferred from Florida State, who scouts like. So this is kind of a guy to keep an eye on for them. He's a 5-star prospect coming out of high school, so he's got a ton of ability. He offers from everybody, Buck. I mean, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, you name it. Notre Dame, they all offered him. Ohio State. But he had a pretty solid week. You want to talk about scouts, the first games we watch when you're watching kind of these mid-major programs. The first game you watch is going to be their biggest opponent. So last week, Notre Dame, 31 carries, 163 yards, and a touchdown. So that's a pretty good statement for the dude to make.
Great statement. And the other thing that you do right after that, DJ, I want to see how you play in your best against the big thing. Then I want to see what your follow-up performance is. So now we get a chance to see, is it real? Is this the kind of production that he delivers each and every week, regardless of the competition? Or was he up and played maybe out of his mind versus Notre Dame? Well, Saturday, we'll get a chance to see it on NFL Network when he take on Bowling Green.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. That's one name to keep an eye on here. It's going to be fun as we roll through some games throughout the year on the network. It's cool seeing college football right there. What else you want to grab before we get out of here, Buck? I've got to scoot over here because I've got to head on the bus here in a few minutes. So we had kind of an abbreviated episode today, but I want to make sure we got in our third one for everybody. What else is on your mind before we get out of here?
Nothing's on my mind. I'm just excited to see what the game looks like tonight. See what the Chargers and the Chiefs look like. It's always a bit of rivalry. It's always a high-scoring game when you talk about these two quarterbacks. DJ, for me, it is literally about, can Justin Herbert tonight on a big stage, can he wrestle the crown away from Pat Mahomes? Pat Mahomes has been viewed, he and Josh Allen have been viewed as the faces of the league. Let's see if Justin Herbert in front of a national audience can be like, hey, hold on, I'm here and I'm ready.
Yeah, he's matched up well against him. Some of the nuggets I was going through, he's the only quarterback who's played multiple games against Patrick Mahomes that has a higher passer rating in their contest. So they've squared off 3 times. Herbert, I think, is 2-2 overall against the Chiefs, but one of those Mahomes didn't play late in the season. They were resting guys. But they've all 3 been incredible games, a close win, and then a couple overtime games. So, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a competitive game, and I'm just kind of, I almost feel guilty that I'm going to get to see these guys go at it for years and years and years to come inside this division. And man, you start out 2-0, either one of these teams start out 2-0, you're in a great spot. The Chargers specifically would be 2 division wins. You already got the Raiders. If you could take care of the Chiefs, then we get by the way, did you realize, have you looked ahead at the schedule? What's coming up?
Oh yeah. We got another
Move the Sticks Bowl number 2.
Yeah, that's a little different though. I don't know if I have enough. I have enough stuff. But yeah, there's a Move the Sticks Bowl part 2.
Yeah, Jacksonville take it on the Chargers. So they already told us we've got you set up to come on with us for pregame. You can come on with me and Money, so we'll have some fun there. It's gonna be great in SoFi Stadium. I'm 0-1 in Move the Sticks Classic this year. I lost the college game.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to send it to the group chat. Coach Brown got the trophy and sent me a nice little picture.
Oh, come on. Can you hold it up to the screen? Can I just see it so I can see what it looks like?
Yeah, Coach texted me. He was very excited about the trophy. He's really big. I told you, he's really big about championships and those things. So
did he put it in his pocket? It's not the biggest trophy.
It's not the biggest trophy, but he did put it up there.
Oh my gosh, that makes me puke.
It goes right in the little trophy case right there. The Move the Sticks Class. He's very excited.
That is amazing. Hey, hats off to Nabil for getting that done and getting that out to Coach Brown. And congrats to you, Buck. I can live with that after we went and took care of A&M. I'm much more comfortable with that Carolina loss right now. Luke Combs, by the way, guest picker out in Boone. So big one there. App State's finest.
All right, that's cool. That look, exciting win for them.
No, we'll take it. All right, you guys are 2-0. Are you guys ranked yet? What are you ranked?
No, we're not ranked. We beat Georgia State, man. You guys crazy. We won. We're 3-0, but we got Notre Dame coming.
3-0.
Yeah. We got Notre Dame coming. Not this week. Got a little bye week, but then we get the.
Ooh, that'll get you ranked. Notre Dame can be Notre Dame be 0-4. You beat them, you'll get ranked.
I know we can knock off friend of the show Marcus Freeman. Make life real miserable for him.
Man, I
know.
I hope they get one. Who do they have this week? Who does Notre Dame have this week?
Cal. They have the Cal Bears.
They better beat the Bears, man.
So I'm hoping he can beat the Bears before the Tar Heels beat them up.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. That's good. Wishful thinking there. I like it. All right, that's going to do it for us. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, a quick episode. We'll be back with a full episode on Monday as we recap what hopefully is an incredible weekend of NFL action as well as what we've seen on the college field. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to do it for us today. Appreciate you guys hanging with us, and we'll catch you next time right here on Move the Sticks.